Hello everybody, and I would like to introduce you to my PowerPoint alternative that I've named after Jeff Bezos. I'm not sure if y'all know this, but Jeff apparently hates PowerPoint so much that he banned it at Amazon. Actually, I'm kind of curious, what was the deck that he saw? Like, what was the last PowerPoint he saw before he banned it? One day I'm going to try to find it. It's got to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. But honestly, can we blame him? Can we blame Jeff Bezos for hating PowerPoint? I hate PowerPoint. Everyone hates PowerPoint. So I decided to make my own version of PowerPoint. You're actually looking at it right now, and it's basically designed with some of the stuff that I learned from game development. So my alternative uses kind of a Markdown format. Right now, it's kind of a quick jank, sort of like prototype, but it mostly works. I'm probably just going to keep using it, and looks fine to me. It has hot reloading, so you can edit the file and see your slides. Well, I'll demo all that in a second. You can load images, you can do shaders, you can change the layout, not much else. It's very, very simple. So let's look at some examples. Slides are, simple Markdown separated by triple dashes. Each slide can have a JSON metadata, very simple. Supported Markdown is pretty easy. So you got lists that start with bullet points. You can put just raw text. You can do images. You can place images wherever you want. And also pound symbols for the titles. So very, very easy. Deck headers. Actually, it's triple equals to start the whole document. And then just dashes between slides. You use JSON, so that's your configuration. You can set things like title, description, background colors, things like that. We'll look at an example file that actually makes this. You can change the background color, so make it look like that. You can add an image to the background. Simple. You can add a shader to the entire thing. This shader. I don't know very much about shaders. I just wrote this one. This is the only one I've written. No, I haven't known the one, Lightning. I'll show you Lightning in a second. But there you go, shaders. You can configure the fonts. Make them as big as you want, any color you want. You can apply this sort of like kind of weird layout language I have. So you can make any layouts you want, but then while you're working, you don't really deal with the layouts too much. So you can kind of like write your Markdown, get your text, what you want to say, and then just apply layouts and refine it. So for example, you can have a layout here, and then you can just sort of set a background right here. And the text goes on top of it. You can put a background on the left or the right. Actually, I can reposition this image in any position. And then over there, you can just do a layout where you switch it. There's hot reloading. I'll show you that in a second. Basically, as you change the file, it just more or less redoes the rendering. Current status. It's mostly something I need for my presentations and whatnot. It's written in C++ using my game UI library that I wrote. So I wrote this UI library that's specifically for games. It doesn't do a lot. It's mostly designed if you do your own graphics. It's a quick hack proof of concept. And I might rewrite it in Go, actually. I'm kind of considering that. So that's what it is. Time for a demo. Now, what we have here is this is actually my recording setup is kind of weird. I have a streaming device that has multiple inputs. So I actually have HDMI inputs. I have two inputs coming from my main computer, and I have a Linux computer, and I'll show you that in a second. So what I have is when I hit this, it goes over to this side. Actually, let me do it this way. So I'm back at my presentation. Now I'm back at Windows. So I'm controlling it with a Stream Deck. So down below, I have a Stream Deck. Let me fire it up for you. And here's my Stream Deck. And yeah, I just have a button for presentation. I have a button for Linux. To go to Linux, I can just, do all sorts of options. So when I hit presentation, which is one of the buttons on my thing, it automatically goes over to the presentation input. And it also focuses the mouse over there. So you can see the mouse kind of hidden behind me, so that way I can control it. So the idea is I'm talking to people in my courses or whatever, when Windows, I go, okay, now let's continue on with the thing. So what we're going to have is this, blah, 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 blah. So really simple. Now, in addition to that, if we come down here, I have a second monitor that kind of sits down here. And what I do is, here's the control window. So the control window shows you the current slide, the next slide, gives you a little bit of help because I kept forgetting what these keys were. what slide you're on. And then I'm going to put something useful here. I'm not quite sure what yet. Either it's going to be the outline, of what you're looking at currently, or maybe a sound bar if you want to play some sounds. And you can actually control the whole presentation from this too. So if we take and go like this and then go look, you'll see it should be on hot reload, right? So really straightforward. And this is mostly so that I can have this kind of off screen. I'm recording this window and also recording this at the same time. And so then I can do the whole presentation from that and kind of live. Okay, so now, next thing, you'll see down here, I have a win left, win right, and so on. Okay, so the win left and win right, the purpose of that is that I have the monitor is technically to the kind of the left or the right, okay, of me. I'm actually not sure if it's left according to Windows, but either way, it's fairly arbitrary. What I can do is when I start it up, I can move it to a second monitor, and that's how it gets over here. So it makes it a lot easier to kind of manage when you have multiple monitors. I don't know if you've ever spoken at a conference, but sometimes your presentation tool can't display onto the external HDMI they need. So that solves this. And to give you an idea how it works, I start it up. It starts here and it starts minimized. So you see how it's minimized? And they're both kind of in sync. Right? Okay, so we know what it's doing. Now I start it up. I go full screen, so now it's full screen, and I go A left, and now it's over on this monitor. Easy. Basically, I can move it around, make it full screen or not. So if I want, I can come over back over here. I can take it out of full screen and move it over, and there it is. And then this is how I set it up when I'm working on it. So typically what I'll do is I might swing this down and do this. And then if I load up the Markdown file, so this is what the Markdown files look like. And so let me kind of expand it out. So what we're looking at is you start off with kind of a typical sort of like header, and you set the title and the description. The title and the description show up down here. So see how it says how to use Bezos, the PowerPoint killer for PowerPoint haters like Jeff. And then basically I have that same thing, how to use Bezos, PowerPoint killer. So that's what it shows up. You can pick your font. It can be, I think, kind of anything, but OTF and TTF seem to be the best. And then there's a configuration for your layouts. So generally, you just set these once and then you're done. And then each slide can have its own metadata as well. So all your slides start here. This is starting your document. And you lay out your slides like this. And then this is the next slide. And you write it like that. And then once again, you can configure each thing. And there you go. Everything's nicely configured. So it's pretty easy to write. And what makes it even easier to write is that it can sit here and we can go to the top. So if I come over here, this isn't 100% reliable. Sometimes it collapses, crashes, as C++ does, but you can see I can go like this. I can say font color is, I can go just all black. And it should work. Oh, but sometimes you get an error. Yeah, so see, I need syntax errors. So, you know, like I said, it's a rough prototype. But there we go. Now it's black. And then I undo it. Now it's back. We can also come down to, say, the next one. Can we blame him? And I can go, no. And there we go. It shows up. I can turn this into a title. Like that. Can we blame him? I can say the title size is 200. That's too large, so I can say it's actually like 180, 130, you know, basically mess with it till it looks right. I can go like this. Oh, that's going to have an error. Undo it. We can also go down to the line with the shaders. So we have the shader. I can go to the shaders here. You know, really simple. Right here, we have the shader. If I change this to lightning, now it's the lightning shader. And I can also change the background color. So if I get rid of that, now it's more blue. Make that, say, 80. So there you go. So working on it is very rapid. Like if you're a programmer, this is like very fast, and you can pretty much do this. Now, it's not crazy robust. I mean, I'm going to say, yeah, sometimes you'll make an edit that'll cause it to crash or whatnot. And also there's not a lot of error reporting. You have to look at the terminal output, and that'll tell you if you have an error. So, lots of work to do, but honestly, it works well enough for me. It's very much designed for me. So if you're curious about using it, I'll have a link in the reply, because we have to do them replies. And that's pretty much how it works. I would say the only other thing is, you can change font sizes and colors, and you can move images around into specific areas. So if we look at this one, in the layout, I'll show you the layouts in a second. There's a cell named image. So if I change this to content, it'll move it over to the content space. If I change it to title, it moves it up there. You can kind of see it, right? So what you do is, this would be your alt text normally. In my setup, it's just, that's the image position, and you just pick a cell where it goes in. Okay, the layouts are done with this kind of really simple, basically everything looks like a table. So what you do is you say, oh yeah, I have, these cells, these rows. This one here expands out, so it goes by 300% this way, 1, 2, 3 to there. Or no, 300% and 200% goes down there. So this is your title, right? And content is on the left, so it's going to be 300 by 6. So 3 by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, including that one, and then 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's kind of this, right? And so you just basically give the position a title, and you say how big you want it to be and how much it expands if it's centered, and that's your basic layout. So what I try to do is I separate the layout from the things that go into the layout. Whereas like you might use other systems like say IamGUI, where the layout, the cells also contain the components. In mine, your layout is a grid where you say, yeah, anything I want is going to be in these cells named this and this. And then you create the components and a stack, and you say, yeah, put those components there. So what that does, it makes it very easy to kind of switch layouts, test layouts. You can hot reload layouts. You can give people like, the ability to change the configuration as much as they want, but it also works really well with games because my system's based on ECS, right? So using that, I was able to crank out this presentation tool pretty quickly. I had a kind of working prototype for it a while back. So when we go to this layout, say this one, specific positions, that's going to do image left. So you can see I'm like here, right? So if I want, I can say this is actually 100. And see, it gave a gap. So if we read this, this is 100% this way. And there's a cell here. And then the remainder is 300. So if you look, this is that there. This is this empty cell here, and this is right there. So very easy. Like I use this to make my game UIs and everything. It's like very quick to figure out. Some refinements I would do, I was thinking in percentages, I would like have some sort of like funky 150%. It mostly works, kind of works, sort of. So yeah, see, it kind of works. But anyways, that's what you do. You set up your layouts, and then you mostly just, kind of forget them. You go and you go back to your Markdown, and you can just say, yeah, I want this layout to be image left. I want this layout to be no title, and that's it. You don't ever touch it again, which is typical. Like as when you do decks, that you really kind of have a few layouts that you use. All right, so that's my thing. I will have the code online. I don't know if this is actually open source, but you can read the source. It's copyright by me. But if it evolves further, I might actually either open source it or I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this little joke. And oh, I forgot one major feature. So see down here, you can actually control it from the command line, and I have two command lines. So I can do like N, and it'll go to the next slide, and let's bring up the control window so you can see that it's all synchronized. So yeah, so I have a little command line tool that uses a UDP socket to control it. Now, one interesting thing is in my Stream Deck that you saw, if you take a look, this command here, pres, it runs that command line tool, but you'll notice it runs a control command. See how it says CTRL? Okay, There's a weird, kind of like a hack I sort of figured out. So, but down here, I'm running CLI, right? Okay. So in my build, you can build Windows programs to be console programs or window programs. If you make a program a console program, this is what CLI is. It's a console. So you'll get output. So if I like try to do an option like this, it'll give me this output here, right? So what it does is it says, you know, hey, you have that output. Okay, now if I run control, they're the exact same program. They're just compiled differently. That's it, exact same code. I don't get any output because that one is a window program. Okay, so what's the point of that? Well, Stream Deck, in its infinite wisdom, I don't know if it's Stream Deck or just the API they're using, but if you do the open operation in Stream Deck and you give it a console program, it will flash a little command.exe super quick because it thinks it has to run command.exe to run your program. So when you have a console, it will open a window. But if you compile that same program with the option of it's a window program, ironically, Stream Deck won't open a window. So if you never open a window in a window program, you get no flashing windows, you get no console output, you get nothing. So that's what this version of it is for. It's for putting into these launcher programs that for some reason don't understand that they don't have to start a terminal just to run the console. And what it'll do is it goes very quick. Now, if you get it wrong, right, you get the command line wrong, you don't know anything. So that's why the CLI version exists. So you can actually get, you know, like results and error messages and kind of use it in regular, you know, Unix style workflow. So that's the other way to control it. You can just basically shoot a couple integers to a UDP socket, and then you're more or less ready to remote control it. So once again, I can go previous, I can go next, I can move it left, and now it's over on this screen here, right? And I can also quit. Can I quit? Yeah, quit, and it'll exit it. All right, so there you go. That is my little hack for the last week or so. I've basically been refining this so I can use it, and I plan on using it. I really wanted to get done because I've been trying to improve my video essays and whatnot. So I kind of wanted to have a nice little tool like this that I can do presentations with. Anyways, if you enjoyed it, let me know. See you soon.